Well, as Chris said, this is pretty well the wrap up for this year. Uh, 2024 has been a very successful year, in my opinion, for New Tracks Modeling. It was about, I don't know, 20 years ago that Nancy and I moved to Florida from Virginia and built a house. And then all of a sudden, 48-foot O-scale news went out of business. Uh, I built a new traction layout and was laying around and just kind of playing some golf and goofing off. And then I got bored a little bit and I decided that people weren't building models anymore. I've been hearing it for years as the achievement program chairman of various division regions. They weren't building them, and frankly, many people were afraid to go up to clinicians and to people that were really talented, like the people that you saw tonight showing their modeling. And they didn't feel comfortable just walking up to them and say, boy, how did you do that? Like the questions that were asked tonight. And I thought, well, let me just start a new series because I'm a traction modeler, but I didn't want to write about traction all the time. I'm an O-scale modeler. I didn't want to write just about O-scale. So I figured, well, we'll write about everybody. As long as it's modeling, I don't care what scale it is. I don't care what gauge it is. I don't care what they build. As long as it is railroad modeling, that's all I care about. And the other thing I care about is I want more people building models. And I want the talented modelers around to help mentor the people that need help or that can help or that feel that they need something to help improve what they can achieve. They're not too happy with the models that they're building. So my wife suggested the name of New Tracks. And about 8 years ago, we started writing the articles for Dan Daugherty and Amy Daugherty's two magazines, S-Scale Resource and O-Scale Resource. And they appealed to me because the problem with 48-foot O-Scale News was it was a printed publication. And when Greg Heyer, the editor, died, the magazine died because nobody wanted to do the kind of work that Greg used to do and putting together that magazine. And since I've been writing for him for about 25 years, it was obvious that that kind of publication was on its way out. So having digital publications made all the sense in the world to me. And I really think Amy and Dan were ahead of the market, really, in coming up with the idea of doing a digital publication, plus making it free to subscribers. In other words, having the people that are advertising in the publication pay for the publication. And anybody that wants to have the information that the publication provides, they can get that for free. So that started the New Tracks modeling articles in the publication. Never missed an issue. Had both publications. So those turned into once a month. And those turned into 20, 30, 40 pages each magazine. In some cases, each one of those articles made up about a third to a quarter of the total magazine, the issue that was published. Now, about that time, after a few years of doing that, the pandemic hit, as Chris mentioned. And I got people saying, well, we can't get out. We're kind of stuck at home and so forth. And why don't you consider doing what you're doing with the magazines on a Zoom show? And not knowing what Zoom was all about, one of the people that I owe such a tremendous debt to, Dylan Lambert. I got to Dylan through Kevin McCumber. Early on, Kevin McCumber did two things for the shows. At a time when Phil Edholm and I were talking about starting a separate show called Modeling Lifestyle. we thought that we were going to have to buy a whole new computer program for just that show. And that was going to cost about $200. And up to that point, the cost for the Zoom and so forth, I had just been paying out of my pocket. So, it wasn't all that much. So, it was just something that I felt should be done for the hobby, and I was interested in doing it, so I paid for it. But now we were talking about not only that, but more money for this other thing. So I figured, well, geez, that's a lot of money. So I was talking to Kevin, and I said, Kevin, I'm thinking about doing this. It's going to cost me $200 to buy the program. And I'm just not sure I want to spend that extra money right now. And he said, well, don't worry about it. I'll cover the cost. And he did. Wrote a check, no problem whatsoever. Didn't even ask me what the program was. And I said, that's great. This is the second time that Kevin had come to my aid. The first time, he introduced me to Dylan Lambert. And that introduction got the basic Zoom shows off the ground, because through Kevin, through Dylan, if it had not been for Dylan and his expertise, the first Zoom show would never have existed, because I had no idea what I was doing. Electronically, digitally, I had no idea. All I knew was it was possible, and there was some program out there called Zoom, and I needed all the help in the world. And Dylan provided that help. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, and how many hours. If Chris thinks that he spent a lot of hours, I can't imagine the amount of time that Dylan took early on to get that first Zoom show off the ground. And that goes back to about 5 years ago now, something like that. Close to it anyway. So, we had the magazine articles. Now we had the Zoom show once a week. Sometimes we did it twice a week. Why did we do it twice a week? Because we had more people wanting to be on the Zoom show than we had hours that we could handle. And we tried to limit the shows to 2 hours apiece. So we started a second show. Well, then people said, well, why don't you do a train show? Why don't you do a virtual train show? And Dylan just about was ready to quit at that point. And Chris and Dylan at one point said, no, we're through. If you want to do more than this, we're out of here. Both of them. And so we did the first train show. I think it lasted 4 hours. Dylan and I couldn't believe it. We had so many people show up. The second show, we had more people. Third show, we had more people than that. And after a while, it got to a point where we were doing 4-hour train shows on a Saturday, plus the weekly 2 Zoom shows. And it got to be a bit much. So we couldn't find anybody else that would come along and volunteer to produce the train show, so we stopped them. Phil came along and offered to help do the modeling lifestyle, so we started that. So we had the various Zoom shows now going. And then a while later, we said, well, we've got to have a website. We got to promote ourselves, so we need a website. And we had a website developed by volunteers. Then we said, well, we need to get some money to pay for all of this stuff on a regular basis. The out-of-pocket expenses, no one has been paid any salary or anything. And what are we going to do with the extra money? And Phil Edholm came to the rescue and said, well, why don't we follow the leadership of Walters? Why don't we offer a scholarship? So our scholarship program was created that day. And last year we offered 3 $2,000 scholarships. All that money from you, your donations, your belief that the scholarship program was needed and you wanted to support it. Bob Davidson will talk about the success of the scholarship program from his position as chairman of our scholarship committee in a few minutes. But this year, it's going to be successful again. And I can't thank everybody who made the financial contributions to our scholarship fund for making all of that possible. Well, then we said, well, we need a newsletter. We need a monthly newsletter. And so along came Martin Breckbill, MMR, and he agreed to be the editor for us and has produced beautiful publications. We just finished the first year of that monthly publication. And I think the last one was about 52 pages, if I remember right. Beautifully job done. Thank you so much, Martin, for all of your help. All of it done by volunteers. Now Martin is starting to build a staff. He's got 2 people helping him, two proofreaders, and another person helping with find out what new products manufacturers are doing so that we can include those in the newsletter. So that's coming along nicely. Well, then my local newspaper came out and said, we heard about you and would like to profile you in our newspaper. And out of that, they said, how would you like to do a monthly column in the local newspaper on model railroading? I think I may be the only dumb person around that is writing for a local newspaper on a monthly basis, a column on model railroading. But I think it's the kind of audience we need to have. None of the model railroad publications belong to the AP. Consequently, anything they publish doesn't go any further than that. So in effect, we're talking to ourselves. Whereas the newspaper, well, the newspaper can be picked up by the AP. The newspaper reaches an audience that we normally don't talk to. I hear from people every time one of my articles appear in the local newspaper. I've reached a point now where the article coming out for the January issue will talk about local citizens and what they're doing in model railroading and a local hobby shop and how they help those people achieve their dream of the model railroad. I've never heard of these people before. These people they don't belong to clubs. They don't belong to the NMRA or anything like that. They're just local model railroaders. They corresponded with me. Why? Because they saw my article. It is an audience we are not reaching. We need more people around the country, in my opinion, trying to reach that audience through their local newspaper. But it's not being done right now. But that is, in my opinion, the future of the audience for model railroading. It's not necessarily the publications where we're talking to ourselves. This journey has really been amazing. It's been amazing because I've had a lot of fun doing it. It's been amazing because of the new people I've met. It's been amazing because people like Dylan and Chris and Phil and just so many different people. There's just too many for me to sit here and try to name tonight. Father Ron. When I called Father Ron and said, Father Ron, how about doing a prayer on our show once a week? His first comment was, he said, boy, you're going to take some grease for this. And I said, I don't care. I think it's vital that we have that element a part of our shows. And if you'd like to do it, Father, I'd appreciate it if you do it once a week for us. And he started. And we lost a couple of people that said that they just didn't want to be a part of a model railroading endeavor that involved religion. I'm sorry for them, but I wished them the best, and you know, that was it. But as far as I was concerned, Father Ron was here to stay, and we were going to have the prayer for each one of our shows. And I'd do that again. But a simple thank you for all of this help, and to all of you for the financial burden that you've taken on for the scholarship and to fund the out-of-pocket costs for the show, for the for the people that made presentations like the ones that did it tonight, for the people that produce the shows, for the people that work on the website, for the people that put out our newsletter, for the people that do a myriad of small things that nobody ever thinks about or nobody even knows that has to happen. Gosh, there's just nothing I can say except thank you. And it seems such a small, insignificant, really, I don't even know what to call it. It's just a thank you for doing what you did. Because without you, we never could have gotten this far. Would I like to see us go further? Absolutely. But you know, I'm 85 years old now. And my wife says that she would like to spend a few hours a day with me before it's too late. And I understand that. So I decided, well, it may be that time where I have a decision to make. Either New Tracks Modeling stops, that's it just goes away. And I end tonight by saying thank you for everything you've done. It's been a pleasure, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that. Because in my view, New Tracks Modeling, it's never been about me personally. I truly believe that the programs that we have are really a great value to our hobby and a great value to the people that want to improve their modeling skills and want to meet some of the people that can help them do that and hopefully feel comfortable in asking them questions or contacting them later in the show. We now have a YouTube channel where you can watch the videos of each one of our shows. We have over 1,400 videos on that YouTube channel. And Earl Hackett, Earl's been breaking down the 2-hour-ish show each week into the small segments. So if you only want to watch section 4, you can watch it on our YouTube channel, or you can watch the total show. We have somewhere between probably 700, 800 people watch either the total show or some portion of it every week on our channel, plus the people that watch it on Zoom. So we are definitely having an input and having some kind of an influence for a lot of model railroaders. And that's what the shows are all about. So my decision was, effective January the 1st, I needed to kind of bow out and not have to be the person doing all of this. And I called Tom Farrell. And I asked him to take over as the host for all of the Zoom shows. And basically to be in charge of New Tracks Modeling. Because it's so many things that have to come together to make the shows work, but also make the advertising work, to provide all of the details for the website, for the newsletter, for this, for being able to post on our Facebook group. And there's so many details that have to be worked out. And somebody has to do that. And unfortunately, at least for me, I just can't do it anymore. Not like I have been. It's time for me to pass along the workload, but also the fun and the thrill of hopefully being able to help other model railroads. So Tom agreed to do that. I asked Bob Davidson, who's been chairman of our scholarship committee now all this time, to please take the lead on the scholarship program, and Bob agreed. I talked to Phil and said, Phil, you know, you have all of the skills, all of the knowledge to handle the production. Can you please take that over for us and make sure that everybody else that's involved in the production is properly trained and knows what to do, and can make sure our shows operate properly. And he agreed to do that. And I asked Martin, I said, Martin, you need to take over the newsletter. It needs to be your baby, Martin. Make it great. And he would. He said he would. And Jim Allen, who is our webmaster. And Jamie Bothwell, who works with Jim and is responsible for all of the emails that are sent out. to everybody once a week. And Earl Hackett agreed to keep doing the breakup of our shows so that we don't have just a 2.5 hour show on our channel, but we have individual segments as well as that 2 hour show, so that people don't have to watch the whole show to see specifically what they want to see. And all of these people agreed. All of these people want to see NuTrax continue. And I couldn't be happier. Couldn't have found a better leadership team. And those people, plus all of the other people who watch the show, who participate in whatever way they participate, asking questions, doing a presentation, whatever. That team is going to make this as successful as I know it can be, and that I've always prayed that it would be. So I'm stepping back from a lot of it. I'm not going to be host of the show anymore. That's going to be up to Tom. And Tom is going to see what he wants to do and where he wants to try to take a lot of what NuTrax modeling is right now. And I know that he'll be successful, and I know the other people that support him will be helpful to him and continue what we've built. So my hope for you, and what I would like to ask you to do, is please continue your involvement, whatever it is, and your support, whatever it is, for NuTrax modeling. I believe that model building, mentoring, and the youth programs like our scholarship are absolutely essential for the long-term growth and future of our great model railroad hobby. I want to thank everyone for everything you've done and everything that you're going to do for NuTrax modeling in the future.